and our page. Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Good evening po sa ating lahat, especially the persons with disabilities all over the place at sa lahat ng mga nagsumusubaybay at nanonood ngayong gabi. So, maraming salamat po. And Nikki, Nelda, good evening. Balot, good evening. Rome, good evening. Susan, good evening.
Ayan, oh. Oh, hello, Susan. Yeah, Susan is our main guest. Ayan, our special guest is Susan. Yan, si Susan. So, ayan. Ayan. So, si Balot, nakapasok na ulit si Balot. Ayan, okay. Sige. So, okay, Glo. Sige, we can start.
Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. The Center for Persons with Disabilities would like to present to you our special guest for tonight, Susana Padevi Vichenrat Yuson.
Wow,
I don't know if
good.
if I pronounce it correct. Did I pronounce it correct?
That would, especially with my given name, that was very good.
Ah, okay.
Wow. Okay. Good evening, Susan.
Evening.
So, would you like, greet our audience for tonight?
I like to say good evening to everyone and thank you for inviting me. This is a great honor. Thank you, Miss Gloria. And I am looking forward to this, to sharing ideas and to answering questions. I have a daughter. My eldest is turning 8 actually this Monday, and she has Down syndrome. And then I have a typical daughter who just turned 6. So I'm excited about today's topic, and also I really commend the Center for People with Disabilities and all the work they've been doing, especially for the people of the Philippines, and being a bridge between PWDs and their families, being a support for them, and being a bridge for the general public as well to create awareness.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the very nice introduction. Okay. Your daughter is Juliana Sherry?
That's my second daughter. My eldest is Johanna. Yes, Johanna.
Johanna, the 8 years old.
Yes.
Johanna, the 8 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, and Juliana is the 6 years old.
Yes. So,
yeah.
yes.
Johanna was the one with Down syndrome.
Yes, Johanna has trisomy. Yeah, she has trisomy 21. So she's going to be 8 on Monday. And actually, I gave birth here. So I know very well of how it is to have a family member with PWD here, especially since birth to how old she is now. So dealing with the early interventions, the hospitals first, and the early interventions, the diagnosis, and including to education now. So we're trying to find our way through the system. And so I hope that we can speak about that and just share about that too. So I can get ideas, and I can also try to give some ideas for other parents.
Yeah. When did you start to find out that Johanna has Down syndrome?
Like most cases, I actually was pregnant when I was in, I met my husband and I was pregnant when I was in Thailand. And then we moved here, and I was supposed to have 2 or 3 months, but she was premature. So after a month after I moved here, it was an emergency C-section, and it was premature. So the first time, and when there was that, after that day, that was okay. Later on, during when they were examining her, she got 9.9 on her APGAR, and we thought everything was okay. That we're out of, that the emergency C-section was the highlight and was the dramatic part, but actually she. They noticed some soft markers, they call it. So there's like 15 markers, and then she had noticed some soft markers. And so we, after that, there's suspicions, and we finally got the karyotype for Down syndrome, which you get a blood work.
Okay. What's this stop markers?
The soft markers for her personally is like physical characteristics and some things about her. So for her was she would like to stick out her tongue in and out. And then there was like a very slight nose bridge, no nose bridge, but they're saying maybe because we have Chinese blood. Also, they didn't notice the hypotonia. Some babies would have hypotonia, which means loose, like, the lax of the muscles and no low muscle tone. But she did have that at first because they said that, she had 9.9 on the APGAR. That's why we got some different information, because when there were suspicions from the pedia, my OBGYN said, oh, there's no way, because even pulling her out as a C-section, she thought she was like kicking so much that she thought she was gonna drop her. So she thought that was the misconception, that she was really strong. Other than that, some people with Down syndrome will have the ears. Her ears were not very low set, but later on the geneticist said they were low set, and then they would have one line across. She doesn't have that. And then different things like that we didn't catch at first, and she didn't have those things.
Okay. By the way, I didn't ask you this because I thought you're in the Philippines because you're a member of the DSAP, Down Syndrome
Yes.
Association of the Philippines. So I thought you're in the Philippines. So where are you right now?
Actually, yeah, we are. We live in the Philippines. So I'm in
we live in the Philippines.
Yes. So we're in the Philippines, and since she's been born, I've been living here for 8 years, and the Down Syndrome Association of the Philippines was a great help. As you know, resources here for PWDs is very limited if you try to rely on the government. So what we have for the Down Syndrome Association of the Philippines is that every quarter they have early intervention. Other countries, this will be provided for by the government, but since we don't have that luxury here, it's parent to parent. So there's parents that have been on this journey before, having a child with Down syndrome, and it's been founded, DSAPI has been founded for, I think, almost 30 years now. I think it passed 25 or 26 years a couple of years ago. So it's really a parents group, and that's helped family members. And so during early intervention, we learn about what we need to do, how to care, what's the next step, about therapies, about and it's the support we get from parents. So we also chose, my husband and I, we were so touched by the support we got from the parents in the Down Syndrome Association that we pay it forward too. So it's all voluntary basis. So as we just try to help out the association as much as possible. We do the interventions, help new parents. So we also do that.
Yeah, what about Johanna? Johanna is 8 years old now.
Yes.
Did she go to school?
Yes, she's in she's in a typical
a regular school? Regular school?
She's in a typical school.
Is it a regular school?
Yeah, I like to use the term typical because it's like all schools are regular for me, right? But yeah, she's in a neurotypical school. It's been I think parents mostly, I think with all kids, parents make a huge difference of their success, right? Even neurotypical kids. But for me, I think when you have a child that's a PWD or a child that needs different special attention, you even have to be more active and not give up with them, and you become their advocate. You really have to become their advocate. That's why I really like the Center for the PWD, because I learned to be an advocate for her, and I was able to find a school that's an international school, a smaller one, and who never had a child with Down syndrome before as a student. And I was able to, we are growing together. She's been there since, it wasn't her first school. She went to a different preschool also that was typical. But she went to kindergarten there, first grade, now she's in second grade. So I get to meet with the teachers. She has 11 subjects and 10 teachers. So I have to meet with the teachers every year to do her individual education plan, which is an IEP. And we really sit down together and see what our goals are for her. And I'm very appreciative that the school is able to make accommodations and then make the modifications that she needs to be age appropriate with her peers. So this is her online time. Now we also do online school. So she has 11 subjects online, and then she has her speech therapy that's separate. But she has about 4 hours a day of online classes, and then after that she has independent learning. So the same schedule as all the other kids.
As a mother with Johanna, what are the challenges you encountered with of having a Down syndrome child?
We also like to use, like in the Down Syndrome Association of the Philippines, or in Miss Possibilities, we like to look at the person first. So we always say the person with Down syndrome. And so for having a child with Down syndrome, I would, there's many challenges since birth, right? So one of my major ones was her medical issues, because she did have heart issues. Praise God that we did not have to have an operation, but she did have like 3 or 4 holes in her heart, an open PDA, which meant other things that affected her, which means she would never just get like a cold. She would never get sipon. It would be full on pneumonia or ICU every time. So her immune system was very low. And then thank God that all her holes closed by themselves, so no need for operation. We found that out when she was like one years old. But you know, it's very hard to have a child that you expect to be healthy and not to worry about, but then sometimes you're caring for her, like medically, you're caring for her as someone that is like, it's a newborn, but you're caring like a senior citizen, or she has to have an EKG, she has to have all these treatments and blood tests all the time, and checking her blood work, because she does have thyroid issues and glasses. And so it's all the medical issues. I think for me is the hard part. And of course with Down syndrome, it's typically known to have mild to moderate mental disabilities or cognitive disabilities. So for me, I'm very happy. Of course, it just takes them a little longer to learn, but she tries very hard. She never gives up, and she's a good student. So we're very blessed by that. And we're blessed by so many good teachers around her, and also the therapists when we used to see the therapists, and even now online therapists, that we found God really brought like really great people into our lives to be her angels and to be her team. So for me, the challenging part was the first year for medical issues, the first 3 years with the early intervention. And that's when I wanted to really come up with the Miss Possibilities, and with the help of so many great parents and that became close friends, we also came up with the Miss Possibilities because we wanted to make it, we went through the problems or the obstacles firsthand about the lack of support, how much we're paying for therapy, how much we're paying for all this stuff, the extra expenses that comes with having a child with a disability or having a child with Down syndrome. So we just really wanted to alleviate that. And that's not also including the psychological issues. Every family is different. So some families have more supportive grandparents, extended family, and then some do not. So that's really what was the reason that we know that parenting or our own individual support is very important.
Yeah, speaking of Miss Possibilities, you have a Miss Possibilities page. Miss Possibilities page. Yeah. Can you tell us about this one? Are you one of the organizer in this Miss
Uh,
Possibilities?
yes, I'm the president of the Miss Possibilities Foundation.
Ah,
So
okay.
for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the States. Well, we normally vacation because my husband's family is in the States and my family is also in the States. So one time I saw in the States that they have a poster about a pageant, like a local pageant for the city with girls that are differently abled. So I said, wouldn't this be nice to have in the Philippines? And I just posted it on Facebook. Luckily, and we had one of my friends who does not have a child with disabilities. He offered his restaurant as a venue. So when I came back, I started working on that with our group of parents, and then we just grown from there. So we provide. It was the first pageant. It's the first pageant ever for people that are differently abled in Asia. And then the next year, I thought of an idea of adding a celebrity fashion show because after the first year, we noticed that we wanted to include more kids. We wanted to include more young adults. And how do we include more when it's only a 2-hour thing? So we wanted to add a fashion show. And after that, we do a lot of activities. We have everything for the Miss Possibilities is free. Everything is free for all people with disabilities. So when we have activities such as hippotherapy, which means we used to, not this year, but before we always go horseback riding. So it's riding a horse for therapy. It's called hippotherapy. And we have different clinics, medical missions, free clinics. We give away free glasses, eye exams. So we try to do where we know that we would be most useful. And so that's all free of cost the whole year, all our different activities that you see.
So you have all
Hello?
Glo, you're on mute, Glo. I think you have to remove your microphone. It's not working again. Thank you, Susanna, for joining us.
Yes, of course.
Hey, Glo, continue. Mic test. Remove your mic. Remove your microphone.
Still
Just
can't hear you.
uh, I can't hear Glo. We can't hear you, Glo. Did you remove your microphone? Okay. Susanna, you
Yes,
mentioned something about the horseback riding.
yes.
Where do you do your horseback riding?
We have hippotherapy. It's next to around Subic, almost to Subic. So there's a Caballo horse farm there,
Mm,
and we bring therapists. So we are it's generous of the horse stables there to allow us to use the area, the horse hands, the horses, and then we also provide lunch. We provide transportation there for the children that need it, and then we also provide the therapists. So it's almost like, I didn't understand how it would be, how therapy riding a horse would
mm,
be helpful, but it's something that's done a lot in the Western countries and in Asia. But if you see a person with autism, a person with Down syndrome, and different, uh, it's really cathartic. When they get to ride, it's healing, like in the therapy way. And sometimes people with autism can relate. They love relating to horses or riding the horse. It's a sensory issue, and instead of, more so than people sometimes. And for people with Down syndrome or the kids with Down syndrome, we always do activities on there. So as you might have seen before, like if we had a ring, like just like a floater, like a round ring that using a swimming pool, they would have to ride on the horse and they would have to throw a dart or throw a ball through the hole. So it keeps them sitting up straight. It helps their muscle tone. It helps them with hand-eye coordination, and you really see a big improvement when they're on their horse, when on the horses.
Where is your location now?
For the new possibilities,
Uh, I mean your current location right
where
now.
where I am now,
Yes,
I'm at our condo in the Grove in Pasig.
Pasig. I see. So Subic is farther from
Yeah,
from.
we actually don't do that regularly, but we do
Mm,
have it as an activity. So what Miss Possibilities does, that's what we do with our funding. So our funding will be providing for the transportation, the lunch, the drivers, and all the the tipping for the horse hands. So that's where our funding goes. So our pageant is actually the only event that we the whole year, the only event we throughout the year that we raise funds, and we raise funds just by through the tickets, sponsorships, and selling of T-shirts. But other than that, throughout the whole year, it's but also to enter the pageant or the fashion show is also there's no cost for the kids that would like to enter. But it's from then on, everything, all our activities are free.
because there's a Marikina Equestrian Center also.
We're looking at that one also,
Oh,
but
okay.
it happens to have the willing and the volunteership. I know that there's one in Marikina. I've been
Marikina.
looking. Yeah, I've been trying to think about that one too. But we just had the Caballo in Subic. They've been volunteering. They love working with the kids there. So we've done that for 2 years in a row. This would have been our third year because we go around April, but because of the quarantine, we didn't get to do it this year.
How about you as a horseback rider? Do
No,
you?
not at all. And it's actually good that I don't because when we're there, the kids do not want to get off. Like they have to take turns, and they do not want to get off.
I see. Glo, I can hear you now. Glo, would you like to continue?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay na, okay na, okay na.
Oh, I can hear
Okay
you.
na, okay.
Yes.
No, 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 no. It's okay now. We will ask our panels to ask their questions if there are some questions for them.
Uh,
Would you like to ask
Di,
questions,
I'll
Mickey?
I'll continue na muna. I'll continue my
Ay, okay, okay, okay. Yes,
question.
okay,
Sige.
okay. You continue.
Sige.
Sige, may
Uh,
tanong pa.
si
Okay.
Susana, I was browsing through your Facebook profile,
Yes,
and then I saw this post where you labeled it as time to make memories. Time to make memories. And I thought of using that as the title of our program.
yes.
Could you elaborate on that particular post, Time to Make Memories?
I don't remember exactly what I posted on,
It
but
was about the pageant. I think it was about
Yes,
the
the
first
possibility.
oh
Miss
yes.
Possibilities pageant.
Well,
Yes.
for me, what I've always encountered, especially because I lived in Thailand before for many years and also here. So, what I noticed with the Asian culture is that when we have a family member with PWD, it's almost as if even though we love them with all of our hearts, it's almost never celebrated. It's always something that they're a part of the family. They'll go to our birthday parties, they will go to our family thing, but they're never really celebrated. There hasn't very hard It's very hard to come by an event as in you would typical kids about having you know going to having a typical child. You would go to their graduation, you would go to their sporting events. So that's something, so I really wanted to have this pageant where they're celebrated, where they are celebrated as who they are. Not it's not a kawawa event. So even when we do medical missions, we have like bounce houses, we have loot bags, we have asked the doctors to dress in colorful scrubs. So if we don't want it to make an event where um, it's just like a fact of life or it's so sad. We really want to celebrate because I really believe that God brought these people into our world and they're blessings.
And then I'm also curious about your name. Could you give us a little background about
So
your names?
I was born in America, so I get Susanna from there. My Thai name my is Pavadi, and as Gloria said, Wichin, that is very good. So that's my Thai first name and then my Thai last name, and then Yuzon is my married name.
Mm.
But I just go by Susanna Yuzon, so that's easier.
I see. Why Thai? I mean, why the Thai name?
I'm Thai actually.
You're Thai. I see.
I
Okay.
have zero Filipina blood.
I see. I see. Okay.
Thai, and but I was born in America.
I see. Okay. Okay, Glo. I'm happy
Okay
na.
ka na? Happy na.
Now you
Kontento
can
na si Rom.
now you can sleep. You know the answer now.
uh,
Okay, Nikki, would you like to ask questions to Susanna? Nikki?
Nikki. Nikki has cerebral palsy.
Yes.
Susanna.
Yes, we also have many people with CP that are joining our events. We try to help out also the different associations because for the Miss Possibilities, one thing I've noticed is that in the Philippines, there's an association for cerebral palsy, for Autism Society, for Down syndrome.
Yes.
So for Miss Possibilities, we would like to have all those that are
Oh, see.
disabled.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
so with our funding, we help even like with the Disapi Happy Walk, we help with cerebral palsy, we help with the different associations because I think that united we are stronger.
Yes,
We are,
oo.
so it's nice that if we can come together because there's so much to fight for still or advocate for. We have to do so much more.
Yeah.
Okay, Nikki.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Ay, good evening, Ma'am Susana.
Hi, po.
First, I would like to ask, how would you, or how do you, uh, yes, how would you describe the development of your daughter cognitively? I hope she is progressing as much as she can despite of her Down syndrome.
Thank you for the question, Nikki. Actually, I describe her as um, I'm like when I'll tell you, my husband was when she was born. My husband has never met anyone with Down syndrome before. That she was the first person ever with Down syndrome that he's met in his life. And for me, I've had experience with people with Down syndrome, and for her, he was just saying that I will be happy if I can just have a conversation with her, if I could just talk to her about about having just a regular conversation that she understands what's going on. So praise God that we've passed that point already, even like when she was a lot younger. And she continues to teach me. So I think she's one of the best teachers. Cognitively, I know that it takes her longer and it takes her slower. One of the things that I've been going through, the challenge that we've been going through just this couple of months, I believe, just as she's turning 8, is that she's now aware that she has Down syndrome, and a lot of kids aren't aware of it at that young of an age. But so it's kind of new waters for me because I haven't been able to talk to other parents. Mostly they know it when they're a little older. But she's been talking to me the last few months, especially during this lockdown. She always comes up to me, and I think she's processing it. So she always says, "Do I have, mommy? I'm Down syndrome, right?" And I said, "No, you're not Down syndrome. You have Down syndrome." And she asked me again, "Mommy, I'm Down syndrome, right? But it's okay, right?" And I said, "No, it's not okay. It's like it's wonderful. It's perfect." But she always has to ask those same questions, like still double checking. So sometimes I ask her, "Joey, what does it mean to have Down syndrome?" And she says, "It means it's harder to be smart." So she knows because she goes to a typical school and she has a younger sister who is, reading and writing and doing all the other stuff and more advanced than she is. She knows that she knows that she's having trouble. Like she's getting things a little slower. It's harder for her to remember the very typical textbook of characteristics of someone with Down syndrome. So a poor short-term memory, takes them longer to learn, But for me, my goals for her are uh, to be as independent as possible and to be happy. So we push her limits, we push her just enough, but we also make sure that she's always happy. So while she's doing therapy, while she's doing extra tutoring or studying, it's almost like play for her. So she's having fun. I don't want her to rebel or to, to not like to study. So that's something that we try to make fun, make it fun and to put it into little things that we're doing. As we're saying before, like, it's time to make memories. We make memories from it. She loves cooking. So learning about like measuring, learning about things like that, she will learn through that, like about cooking, about how to make something. Um, she's learning now in school. So her science is about tree, root plants, water plants. So I will show her water plants is like we're growing kangkong, like, just from the supermarket, we cut it and growing, and then what ground plants are, so she's learning air plants. So we know that she's a visual learner, so we try to use her strengths. And I think that's the best thing we can do for our kids is like never give up on them, never believe that there is a plateau forever. There might be a temporary plateau, but they can always learn, just like we're always learning. So never believe that it's too late, and to always believe in them and to know that they can do it. We just need to teach them in a different way. We just need to find a different way.
Thank you,
Another follow-up
ma'am.
question, Nikki. Another follow-up question.
Um, yes, I would like to ask, uh, what would be uh, a typical bonding moment that you do together?
Uh, we're I'm very lucky that we're close. I think one of the best things that's happened during this lockdown is that we're even closer. Um, like before, when she has different therapies, I go to not one therapy center because I really believe that the therapist has to have a good bond with her. So wherever the therapist was for OT, speech, aqua therapy, and PT, they're all in different centers. So I would go to them in all different centers. We spent a lot of time in traffic together, but I really sought out the best therapist for her that works well with her individually. During quarantine, our bonding time is I make sure we date each other. So we have time with her sister. So we call it like the use
So do
on
you like
girl.
read books?
Yes, we like to read books. She likes to draw. What things she loves, like her bonding with her dad is swimming. So she goes swimming an hour a day with her dad. So that's her bonding with her father. For me, she always sleeps with me. She talks to me about things. What we do during this quarantine, I started every Friday we like travel because we used to travel a lot. So we used to be very very active as a family. But so during this quarantine or this lockdown, we every Friday we would pick a during the week we would pick a country. So after that, we would know all about that country. We would like try to study the language, study the food, the geography. And on Friday, we would dress up from that country. We would eat that food. This is what we do in our house. And, they have like a scratch off world map. And so they scratch off that country. We watch a movie that has something related to that country. So that's her bonding. And she really enjoys that. She really likes that. And it's a way to teach her. It's like immersive learning. So when we learn about Mexico and things like that, if she's dressed that way, if she's eating that food, she really always asks for it again. She's like, it's immersive. And so our bonding, I want to make bonding experiences every day. I think that parents should do that. So we try to spend time with them. And we also just made a new house rule that it's mostly for, because they're still young. So it's mostly for my husband and myself that there's like no phones during dinner. And so we can actually bond. We do devotion together. Family devotion is Wednesday and Sundays. nights. So we do twice a week devotion together.
Okay, so
Mhm.
Anything else, Nikki?
Nikki?
I love your questions.
uh, my final question would be who has been her primary caregiver?
That would be me. Everything. Her advocate, her everything. That would be me and and my husband. But for the education, like getting into the details and the therapist, going to the therapy, that would be me. I think I don't go by like the therapy centers here. What they normally do is, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. If you are, what you normally do is the therapist will go into the room with the student or the client, and then 1 hour later they come out, and then they would write in their notebook about what did they do today, and then they would maybe give a brief summary to whoever's there, the yaya, the parent, about today we did this and this and this, and go home and do this. So for me, that wasn't working out. I mean, she's been in early intervention since she was like, I think about 3 weeks old, and we're starting with physical therapy. So for me, I was always there. And if I cannot be there, then back then when she had a yaya would be there, because I want them to be in the class, because I feel like it's too much of a burden on the therapist. If it's only 1 hour a week, how are we supposed to expect improvement if it's only 1 hour a week? But if we can see what they're doing, and see and actually trying to follow up at home and like doing our homework, I think she can improve so much more.
Okay, I think I would give chance to others now.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Actually, what I really like about our Miss Possibilities is that if you can join Nikki next time when we have it again, is that all of the girls that have joined, uh, they are all winners. So everyone will go home with a title and a crown and prizes. And so they were all like Miss. We have Miss Congeniality, we have Miss Unstoppable, we have Miss Photogenic. So we have all the different, because we get to spend time with doing the events first. So once we get to see them, what really stands out about them, we give them a title for that also. And of course, we have one Miss Possibilities. And in the past 5 years that we've had it, is that we've had women with Down syndrome, we've had women with autism, we had women with global delays, we've had women with CP, and Janine, one of our girls that has CP, she is actually passed her education boards, her LETs, and she actually went, because one of our board members, and who started this with me also, works for Accenture. So she got her employment at Accenture. So she's working at Accenture, and she also just recently she got married last year, and this year she had a baby. So we're so proud of all the improvements and all improvements in her life. And we've always seen that she's so special. And so we're happy that she's had all her dreams come true of being a wife, being a mom, and then also working.
Actually, Mom, I don't know if you are familiar with uh, Janice Tongson, because uh, she actually joined your pageant and is actually my friend and
Oh, really?
co-member of
Oh,
Cerebral Palsy Association of the Philippines.
wow. So I'll be looking for you next year.
And she became Miss Limitless
Yes.
2018.
Oh, wow. That's great. So it's Miss Limitless. So I'm looking for you next year, Nikki.
Well, God willing po.
Yes, God willing.
Is there an age limit,
No, there's
Susan?
no age
No
limit.
age limit.
But oh, sorry. The minimum age requirement is 12. 12,
12.
because I wanted this to be for the girls themselves. I didn't want to be for like little kids and for their parents. I really wanted to be an experience that they can remember, that they can enjoy. And I feel like since when you're 12 years old, you start to realize that a lot of girls, even typical girls, start to see in social media that they don't look like everybody else, or they don't look like everyone else's filter, or So I really wanted to make it about empowering the girls, the women that are like 12 and above.
Do you have other contestants from other Asian countries or?
Yes, we do.
Uh-huh.
Last year we had someone from Thailand. We've had from Singapore, and I forget where else. I think twice from Singapore, one from Thailand. And we've had interest from Malaysia also. So yes, it's been so nice that it's starting to become more international.
Is it limited to Asia or
No, no, it's
no?
not.
Not.
Hopefully one day I wanted to make it international, and it's not that hard to do. I just need like a good hotel sponsor, a hotel sponsor. That's about it. But hopefully one day, because I will be the first one in the world, and it would be so great if the Philippines was to have that. Because I really want the Philippines. It's really done for the general public. We're very fortunate. We're so blessed to have every year the media attention that we get from ABS, from GMA, all CNN, all the major news organizations are there. And that's what we really need, because we want the public who might not know someone with a disability to really see that there's no stigma to it, and that they have so many beauties and they can teach us so much. And that's what we're trying to reach for, because I think sometimes we have our own support groups, but we really need to, like, because I know personal experience. um, I knew about it. I knew about people with disabilities. You have a heart for them, but it doesn't affect your daily life, or you really didn't know. Like, I really didn't know that I what I thought I knew. So being in this community, it's so nice to know that there's a supportive community. But we really need the support of the general public, so they can speak to their politicians, so we can get the support from the government as well, and in hospitals as well, and in schools. And education is so important too. So I always say that we're more alike than different. So if we can see that, we can start treating them as people, or treating them as children first, before we start looking at them as a person with disabilities.
What time of the year do you conduct this Miss Possibilities pageant?
Usually it's around October, November. So this year we won't have it, unfortunately, because of what the situation is. But like as Nikki wisely said, God willing, next year we hope that we can continue again. So what we've been doing is using our funds for, since we can't have like activities that we normally do, we've been using our funds for webinars. So you can always watch these webinars on our Facebook page, on the Miss Possibilities Facebook page. They're free for everyone. They're published there. We do pay for the host, and we pay for the presenter, the therapist, because we consider that it's a way to also to help the therapist, because of course everyone's income is suffering during this time as well.
And we'd like to offer our services also for the media. If you could
Oh,
also
perfect.
include us in your media list.
Definitely.
Yes, because we can also do coverages. We can extend the
I
the
really hope that
features.
I really hope we have more collaboration soon. We're always here. We're always helping with different organizations. So yes, that would be so great.
Yes, we can do detailed feature stories of the contestants of your. We could do uh, interviews
Definitely,
like this for your contestants.
definitely.
Yes. And then I'm curious, are you thinking of extending this to Mr. Possibilities?
That's always been a question. Huh? um, for now, as you said, we're all on volunteer basis. Like our Firmest Possibilities, no one is making an income. We're all on volunteer basis, and in one show already that we're doing this, we're putting this on. We're so fortunate. It's really an event. We're lucky that the event organizers and as in witchcraft has donated and has donated their time and their equipment and their personnel, their talents. So we really make it an event so the girls can really have a wonderful, like, this is a memory. This is one of their memories of a lifetime. We use that as it's in one day. There's already that there's a there's the fashion show, celebrity fashion show. The pageant is a full pageant, as in a talent portion, and introducing themselves in a costume that describes themselves. There's evening gown. There's a question. We also interview session portion. We also have an award. We award once a year, the Miss Possibilities Inspiration Award. So it's almost like having three events in one, one short bit. But for the Mister, that's why we also came up with the fashion show part. So for the fashion show, it's for kids of all ages. We try to make it that they're a little bit older because they have to stay backstage with the celebrity for a while. So like for 5 years old and above. And so that's when a lot of the men or the boys will join there because they get to walk with PBA players, celebrities, ABS, CBN artistas. So that's where we include the boys as much as we can. For
Oh,
now.
for now.
For now, that's what we can do. As we expand in more volunteers, hopefully our committee, we can do more as that as well.
Oh, more power to your project.
I hope so. Thank you.
Okay. Glo, you have static. Your microphone has static, so I could. Uh, what about Nelda? Nelda, would you like to ask a question, Nelda?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, hi Nelda.
Hi. I would like to ask, Johanna, why she need to go to PT and OT?
She actually has PT, OT, and speech therapy too. So
Speech therapy.
yeah, so actually, it's very typical of a child with Down syndrome because of the hypotonia, which is the low muscle tone. They're delayed in walking, they're delayed in all the motor skills. So that would be for physical therapy. And then since because they do have that hypotonia, they're also very delayed in their, fine motor skills, which just means everything with their fingers, their hands. That would be for occupational therapy. Occupational therapy here in the Philippines also works on discipline, also works on behavioral.
Yes.
And then speech is also one of the issues with people with Down syndrome. Most needs help with articulation. It actually has all to do with the low muscle tone. It's like, if you try to speak with a mouthful of marshmallows, it's like how their tongue is, you see sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they have their mouth open or their tongue out because that's the relaxed position. So we have to really know, like sometimes we remind her to keep her tongue in. But if she's like concentrating on her schoolwork and she has her tongue out a little like this, I just leave it because for ours is automatically in our mouth, but her automatic position is out and she would have to work to put it in. So if you're concentrating on something, you want her to concentrate on the work. So it's more of a burden to like keep your tongue in and sit up straight and then to work because she's really, her muscle tone is really like that. But since she's become older and her articulation is better, it's her tongue stays in more often. Of course, it becomes stronger. So even small things like that, there's so much that our children can do. No matter what the diagnosis is, I think there's been so many strides made. In the past years, with therapies, with medical issues. Medical advances. So, before Down syndrome in like I don't know the exact number, but I think like in 1980, I think the life expectancy was only like 25 years old, 30 years old. Before that was only like 9 years old, because 50% of them are born with heart issues.
Yes.
So because of the medical advances, they live longer. Now the life expectancy is like 60 plus. But what's sad is that a lot of lives that can be saved are not saved. The babies are not saved because the families cannot afford the the medical bills or the heart surgery here. So that's also something that we wish that that would be addressed in our government more. That there's more support for the families because there's no office in the DOH. So we have a bill now for specifically for Down syndrome because there's never been a bill in Congress for Down syndrome. So there's a bill now. We're working our way into Congress. Um, we're still waiting for the second reading because if you have a baby, if your baby is born with Down syndrome here, there's no place to go other than the Down Syndrome Association in the Philippines, which is a private association. So we wish that there is a place that they can go to, or they need the right tests, they need the right medicines, that they can get the right answers, from their government, from the LGU or wherever they need. So, and also to educate the doctors and the nurses. Unfortunately, doctors and nurses, they set the tone for the whole life of the baby. And as you said before, sir, okay, it's time to make memories, but sometimes the bad memories are, I'm sorry, your baby has Down syndrome. We don't want to hear I'm sorry. We really want to hear, congratulations on your baby. And there's something, if she has Down syndrome or he has Down syndrome, it's okay. They just take a little while learning. It's really how you deliver the news, or how you view it. Sometimes it's more devastating because parents don't know what this is. But when we trust in the doctors, we trust in the nurses, and they're so sad for us that we have a baby with Down syndrome. So we start feeling, oh my goodness, what's wrong? What's wrong with my baby? What's wrong, with her future? That's when we start getting that, So
Mm.
it's just presenting the news that your baby, congratulations, you have a beautiful baby. And by the way, if she has Down syndrome, you might need a little extra work because that's all it is, right? You need to do this and extra work. But, congratulations instead of, oh, sorry, Paul. It's not like a death, So we so that's what really I really hope that we can have good memories and let them be proud of themselves. Like I really want Joey to be an advocate for himself. So I'm happy she knows that she has Down syndrome. And slowly, she's processing it, like I said, the last few months. And like she also comes to me out of nowhere. She says, now she says, "Mommy, it's not okay to have Down syndrome, right?" She says, "It's perfect." And then her sister asked her before, because sometimes she would tell her sister, "I want to be typical. I want to be typical. I don't want to have Down syndrome." But now it's slowly starting to change. And her sister asked her, "Do you want to have Down syndrome? Do you want to be typical?" And she says, "No, I don't want to be typical. I want to have Down syndrome." Because it's really how our family presents it. For so long, even when her sister was younger, her sister wanted to have Down syndrome. Her sister's like, "Why don't I have Down syndrome? I want to have Down syndrome." So it's really the positive spin that you put on it, And it's actually, I said, it's a positivity that you put on it. We're not trying to spin anything because we really look at her as a blessing. She really is a blessing. And without her, there wouldn't be, an initiative to have Miss Possibilities. There wouldn't. She's been an inspiration to so many, and we're so fortunate too. Like SM Kids has her and other kids from Miss Possibilities as models, and along the side of typical kids. So that's like the first
Mm.
time. Like I mean, I remember, not every province has an association or like a PWD advocate or a club or association. Mostly the smaller provinces, but every place they have an SM mall, right? So when you
Mhm.
see them in the general public, when we see them an ad, that's what really is. It really hits home. Like she has a catalog with her in there, and so they can really see that there's so much potential for our kids.
Ano,
Thank you, ma'am. One more question. I have a follow-up question, ma'am. Um, how is her relationship with her sister?
Very, very close, very good. She always says that she's the ate. So she's like a little bossy. Eat your food. She always tells her, eat your food, or you're not done yet, huh? And she tries to be that. Wake up. She wakes up her little sister. It's also more difficult now as she sees that her little sisters become being more advanced, as in academically. But her sister's still in grade 1, because she's in grade 2. But her sister did skip a grade, so she was supposed to be in kinder 2, but now she's in grade 1. But just reading books and stuff, she's faster. Writing, but it's they're very close. They don't have like sibling big fights. They don't have fights. They play together. I'm so blessed that they love each other so much. Like if one is not with the other, they will always look for each other. And we recently went into a farm, and her little sister was sleeping because she's so tired and from all day. And then Joey went to do like a bonfire to make hot dogs and s'mores with her other friends. And the whole day, and after that at night, she kept coming to see, could she join? Is she gonna join? And in the morning, she talked to us too that JC missed all the fun. She didn't join. She didn't join. And her little sister's the same. Her little sister's always wanting to be around her big sister. When her little sister opens up a present or a toy, she always asks, "Does Ate Joey have one? Where's Ate Joey's?" So I'm very fortunate that they love each other so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
But also, I would like to, if there's parents listening, we never put the burden on your sister that you're gonna take care. You have to take care of your sister, ate. You have to take care of your ate. We at the most we say, we take care of each other in our family. But I don't want her with the burden to think that when she grows up, she will be responsible for her ate. So we don't put that burden on her. We don't want her to feel that her ate is going to be like her responsibility or her burden. So, I know that sometimes that's one of our big worries as parents. We also have to be very careful not to say that to the kids and not to put a burden.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am Susanna. Thank you so much.
Okay, Glo, would you like to Glo?
Maririnig ba ako?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Your sound is okay.
Okay. Susanna, I would like to ask you, are you related with God is Able?
I'm not totally related, but I've gone on their shows. Yes, and I do know all of that and the unique parents. And actually,
Yes, the CCF, CCF.
yes, I do
Yes.
CCF. Actually, what's really interesting is that uh, one of my co-parents was with CCF before I was. I wasn't with CCF the first year of Miss Possibilities. So she was helping, and then she was inviting. So she invited like Venus Raj, and she invited the Perkin twins, who their father is American. And then later on, after the first Miss Possibilities, he was so touched, and like a light bulb went out, and he said that he knows Tim Tebow's father, so he wants to have the night to shine. So that started from like
Yes.
him joining the Miss Possibilities, and since like Tim Tebow and the Night to Shine has to go through a church, that's why I went through CCF, and I volunteered there also. So I think, like I said, we all help each other, and it's just that the more help, the more, even if it's a religious or even if it's a spiritual way or whatever it is, non-sector, that we just need more support and more help and more voices for people with as PWDs. And there's so much work to be done still, and so much improvements that we can have. There's still a lot of things that are unfair, things that are very sad. Um, so I just hope that the government here will catch up to the rest of the world, as in equality and representation of people with PWDs.
Yeah, okay. So, Rome, so yun, may question ka pa?
No, no more. I'm very happy
Okay.
just meeting
Yeah.
Susanna.
All right,
Yeah.
nosebleed today, all nosebleeds. In
And
English,
I would like to tell you, Susanna, that, yeah, I would like to tell you also that I'm an active active member of Night to Shine.
Oh, that's great. Yes. Too
Yes,
bad this
yes.
year we didn't have one yet. Yeah.
And a
But
member of and an active member of Unique with Wisdom, with Brother Wisdom.
oh, Wisdom is my D group leader.
Ah, yes. We have Bibles. We have fellowship every Saturday, ten
Yeah,
to 12.
I listened last Saturday, but it's mostly in Tagalog, so I just listen.
Yes, it's Tagalog.
Yes, I just listen. Yes,
Okay.
and then,
Okay.
yeah. So actually, that's who I'm speaking about. His wife Betty, who's my good friend. She is actually the one that helped a lot the first year, and then Unique came from that. So it's almost like it just sparked a lot. So I was really happy that we are able to work together on different events and different things. And I'm also like on the Viber group for Unique. So Wisdom's like, can we share this? Can we share these webinars? So yeah, it's really nice. And hopefully, like I said, we need representation for PWDs everywhere, including in our churches, including in our places of worship, so that they know that they're needed. So if you see the God is able, actually Joey was a part of the last video that they made, the black and white video with the verses, Bible verses. So Joey's in there. God gives me strength, and so she was in there doing part of the video clip too.
Okay. Okay. So another one. Do you still encourage women PWDs to join the Miss Possibilities? Do you still open for that? To join for the PWD women to join the Miss Possibilities?
Oh yes, for we do, and we also have for children. We also have for the boys and the men. Like I said, they join our celebrity fashion show where we pair them up with a celebrity, or they can bring their own celebrity if they know someone. Some have done that too. So we try to make it all inclusive of everybody, and of all people with that we call them that are differently abled. So that's what we would like, and we would just like them to be able to have their moment on stage, like you said, time to make memories. So good memories and good times on stage. And it's so nice to see later on, because like for the girls that do our pageant girls, they do a photo shoot before they do a video shoot. We have to before the event, so for our program. So our video shoot is done by Jason Mambagwa. We have our photo shoot done by Stanley Ong. We have balloon people, Charles Lorian, like some of the great photographers here. Delightful Little Darlings. They all volunteer their time. So they all volunteer their time to help us, and the girls come away with like great videos and great photos. So you see so many later on. That's what they use as their profile picture on Facebook and things like that. So it's nice that they feel beautiful that day. They feel beautiful, and they get to work with some of the top photographers and the top videographers in the country.
Okay, Glo, we have to wrap up.
So yeah, okay, we have to wrap up. So as a parting word, Miss Susana, can you say inspiring words and words of encouragement for our listeners, our viewers right now? There are lots of PWDs who are listening and watching right now.
Well, today's title of this was Time for Memories. So, as a parent, or even as someone with with a disability, I hope that you don't look at your disability first, and that you really try to make the most out of life. Actually, this morning I was just talking to my daughter, and I said, she's thinking, because she's 6 years old, and she's thinking, what will it be when I'm 10? What will it be when I'm 12, 14? And I told her that there's only one October 14th, 2020. It's never going to happen again. And October 13th, yesterday, will never happen again, 2020. Make the most of your time. And sometimes it's harder, especially when we're in quarantine in Manila, but still you can make the most of your time. Creating memories is like also just being creative. And being flexible. So think outside the box. Think about what we can do. It's sometimes people will get lonely. because you're home alone. But like groups like such as Best Buddies also has like activities every weekend on Saturday for people with disabilities, so that you can join in the activities that way. That's a way of socializing. As you can see here, like my living room has turned into like a tent. um, the back here is my daughter's birthday is on Monday, so on Sunday she's been asking for a piñata, but since we can't have a party, I just asked with social distancing a couple of our condo kids here, and instead of all the kids going once it breaks and going to get the candy together, we have time. Like you have 10 seconds to get as much as you can, each person, and the parent will have to hold back the child to take turns. So that's all their loot bag stuff that we just bought. So you just have to adjust and to do what's best in that situation, and use it as an opportunity instead of looking at it as an obstacle. Please look at it as an opportunity. And if you have a child that has a disability, don't look at them as an inconvenience. Please look at them as a blessing, because they really are. Their life has to have a purpose. And as in Joey, she has been my greatest teacher. She's brought me closer to God. She's brought me closer to my faith, made my faith stronger. She's given me the strength to help others' families, and to really have empathy and to be more Christ-like is because of her. So I didn't realize what a selfish person I was before I had her, because I thought, like typically you're like, okay, I feel for them, I feel bad, kawawa, but you didn't really feel for them. So I think God, does not make mistakes, and gave her to us for a reason. Is really to teach us that He doesn't make us mistakes, but also to have empathy. So this is our journey, and then since we've been through this, we can help other people along the way. That we actually know how they feel. So please find a purpose in yourself, and find a purpose in your child, and don't make excuses. And there's been a lot of talks of people being depressed or not happy with the situation, or I think it's very difficult time with people losing jobs, losing income, losing friends, losing their routine, especially the routine. But we have to just try to trust God, and just to know that um, everything's happening for a reason, and just try to search for that reason and make it positive.
Okay, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
it's so nice having you here for
Any
this wonderful experience of uh, good conversation and time to make memories with you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
And please keep in touch. We will get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Keep it
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye,
Yes.
everyone.
Bye now. Bye for now. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Susana. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Nelda. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Miss Susana. Thank you.